Gordon Davis, a man whose heart seemed to have been carved from stone, stood at the edge of the city dump, a heavy suitcase in hand. Inside, wriggling and whimpering, were the 6 tiny puppies that Hannah, his faithful Labrador Retriever, had given birth to just weeks ago. He threw the suitcase on the ground, the metallic clang echoing through the desolate landscape. Hannah, her golden fur matted with dirt and her eyes filled with a desperate fear, watched the suitcase fall. She had felt the shift in her master, the coldness that had seeped into his eyes, and the fear that had clenched her heart. Then, he appeared again, dragging her by the leash. He didn't look at her, didn't speak, just tossed her down beside the suitcase. Her whimpers choked in her throat. He was leaving her, her babies, alone. Hannah, fueled by the primal instinct of a mother, started to scratch at the suitcase, her paws tearing at the leather. She whined, a desperate plea for help, her voice raspy with fear. She pushed against the lid, trying to force it open. Her babies were inside, suffocating. A pair of young women, picking up discarded bottles from the dump, heard the frantic whining. They looked around, spotting Hannah in the suitcase. Something about the dog's frantic cries touched their hearts. They approached, their initial apprehension melting into concern. They pried the suitcase open, the stench of urine and fear hitting them hard. Inside, the tiny puppies were huddled together, panting, their tiny chests heaving. They quickly scooped them up, wrapping them in their jackets. Hannah, her tail wagging feebly, licked at their hands, a silent thank you. The women contacted the local animal shelter, their voices trembling with the story of the abandoned family. While they waited for help, one of the women noticed a name scrawled on the suitcase, Gordon Davis. The news of Hannah and her pups spread quickly, the internet abuzz with outrage and concern. Gordon, confronted with the overwhelming public outcry, attempted to cover his tracks, claiming he had given the dogs away. But the evidence was overwhelming: the suitcase, the name, the witness testimonies. The authorities, moved by the story, launched an investigation. Gordon, his heart hardened by years of cruelty, now felt the weight of his actions. His callous act had sparked a wave of anger, and his cruel lie would not save him. The police tracked him down, his face pale and his eyes shifty. He was arrested, charged with animal cruelty. Hannah and her puppies were cared for at the shelter, their tiny bodies nursed back to health. As for Gordon, his sentence was a mere 3 months, a small price to pay for the suffering he had inflicted. But the real punishment was the weight of guilt, the public condemnation, the knowledge that he had broken the bond of love and loyalty that connected him to his dog, a bond that, in the end, proved stronger than his own. Hannah, finally free from the shadow of her cruel owner, was adopted by a loving family. She never forgot the fear, the desperation, the kindness that had saved her.